Hi, my name is Joe. I am still a 5 black belt, and today I kind of want to talk about... Okay, first off, let's talk how the rest of yesterday went. Yeah? Okay. Went pretty good. I did do I did the lunges, the Cossack squats, all that stuff to get my legs going. And I also had a sword class yesterday, so deep stances there, deeper than I had done in the video, because I had people staring at my stances, so I had no choice in the matter. Sometimes you just gotta, right? Sometimes you gotta go low, because there's like a fifth dan watching you from the chairs, and, you know, like, he's a chill dude, but you don't want to look weak in front of the fifth dans, right? So anyway, let's talk about, dinner yesterday. Worked out great. A friend of ours came by, dropped off some Mediterranean foods. There was like hummus and this, what do you call it? Like a za'atar chicken, and it was super, super good. That was really enjoyable. So I basically got some good food, yasso bar for dessert, handful of peanuts while I was writing, the same old, same old. So we're back on track. Hopefully we stay on track. You know, tracks are boring, but they will get you where the hell you're going as quickly as possible. That's the whole point of tracks. I could belabor that analogy further. Routine is a crutch, which is absolutely accurate. But also, like, man, if you got a broken leg, you need a crutch. If your legs don't work good, you need a crutch. Don't knock people using crutches. Have you ever seen anybody using crutches and been like, fuck off? I mean, maybe you have, but then you're a dick, so... Anyway, last night went fine. I got a reasonable amount of sleep. I did some good writing, so that was a productive evening. Today has been pretty good, which is to say I got to sleep in a little bit because my wife obviously has quite a lot to do with cleanup and family stuff, but took the kids with her, so I was able to chill until my first meeting. I had one of those... I mentioned that I made some like burritos the other day. So here's what that is. It literally is just can of black beans, chicken breast, reduced fat cheese, salsa, a little line of crema, which I probably could have done without, to be quite honest, but whatever, it's good. And then these, are they extreme? Whatever the pause, I'm going to look it up. Yes, which side am I on? Why does this not work? The Extreme Wellness Zero Net Carb Ole Burrito. Anyway, they're fine. They're delicious is what I'm saying. And so I just wrapped the whole thing up in that, nuke it in the microwave. Fine. I had that for breakfast. No training today. D&D tonight. Generally speaking, on Tuesdays, I get Chipotle for the family, which I am still going to do, but I hate Chipotle. So I think I may polish off the last burrito tonight and then maybe snack on some pickles and hummus during the course of my D&D game. We're going to see how that goes. The thing I wanted to talk about today was yesterday's outstanding sword class and what I like about big classes and what I like about small classes. This is training size. We're just strictly talking the number of people in a class. Let's say you have a big class. Okay? Spoiler alert, it just became nighttime. Whatever, you'll get over it. Let's say we're time traveling. Let's say you have a big class. Very recently, I went out to Pittsburgh to do a sword class. There were probably 150 people in that room. It was awesome. Like, it just feels so good, right, to do the warm-ups and the forms and all that stuff with like 150 other people. That feels amazing. That's cool. That's what I like. Whatever you're doing wrong, somebody else is doing that thing wrong. Whatever you're doing right, somebody else is doing it right. If you lack confidence in what you're doing, odds are very good. If you just do what everybody else does, you've got it. So that's choice. That's really good stuff. The downside, of course, is that there's a lot of people. You're not going to get a lot of individual attention. You're going to be very lucky if you get 20, 30 seconds, of an instructor telling you what to do. Now, that's okay, I think, usually, if you're, when you're first starting out. Because you first start out as a white belt in anything, you're making the same mistakes as everybody else. So what'll happen is you'll be doing your punches, and your instructor will say, not to you, in general, they'll say, look, if you're doing a middle punch and you're punching straight out from your shoulder, you're not doing a middle punch, solar plexus level. Your punch goes down, your punch goes up. There is no shoulder punch in Taekwondo, for example. I say that a lot. And what you'll find is that when they say that in a room full of people, especially a room full of like newer people, half the people in that room go, right? Because they're all doing the same thing wrong. Because some of the things you do wrong are so normal, right? Like your punches should be in the same place. And when you say that, a lot of people will go, "Ooh," right, and just bring that thing over to the center line. And it's not until much later when you have to start talking about, when are you tensing your hand? When are you, when is that rotation happening? And you'll say to a whole room full of people, it's at the last possible second. But where is that? Right? Where is the last possible? Most punches take less than a second. So you can't, saying last possible second doesn't actually mean anything. It's just one of those things we say to cue people, right? So, and in a big class, you don't get that individual attention, but the good news is, generally as you rank up, you start attending classes that are smaller. And also just over the course of months and years, you will occasionally, some classes are bigger, some classes are smaller. I've never been in a school where every class is big and it's all packed full of people. Usually it's, even at a really populated school, usually it's like most of the time this class is big, but sometimes there's 6 people. So that's, but the advantage there is definitely the numbers. But also, yesterday's sword class was me and one other person. That never happens. That class is the smallest number of people I have ever seen at one of those classes is like 5 or 6, and usually it's like 15 or 20. Sometimes it's so many people that we have to stagger lines or move people in and out. She has in the past had to open up other time slots to accommodate people. So it's just a matter of, it was just a combination of things that made yesterday's class literally 2 people. But that is one of my favorite kinds of class, because literally she was like, all right, you're over the front, he's in the back, you guys just do your curriculum, let me know if you run into problems. And so I just went in the back and I just did my whole curriculum. I started with white belt, I did yellow belt, I did orange belt, just did everything in order. And somewhere in the middle, another guy came in who's like a 5th dan, and he had just happened to have come late, and he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna dress for sword or whatever. I'll stick around until my next class. So what he did was he just parked himself on a chair and watched me. And when I messed something up, he would come over and be like, all right, here's what you want. And, and my instructor did the same thing. So, generally speaking, like, for example, there's a thing we do in swords called pokose. And it's a really low, you're basically in like a Cossack squat, and you bring your sword down, and it's sort of like after a cut, and it's in a really, really low guard position. And the thing is, it's so hard for most people to get down into that squat in the first place that most of the time, if it's a large class, they're just like, yeah, you're good. If you get down there, you're good. And there's just so much to do. But we had time, so she literally came over and like moved my arm and was like, no, here's where your arm is, here's where your sword goes, this is what's going on. And I had never had that before. Not in sword anyway. I'd been doing this stance and this particular move for like a year now. And I had just never felt it like that before. So that, great, awesome, peak learning, right? And it's just fun. It's just fun to go through your stuff and not have to worry about room. One of my forms has a dive roll in it, for crying out loud, and I need a little bit of space. So that's always a fun thing to do. So that's my favorite kind of class. That and, the one where a bunch of people show up and they're like, let's learn something wacky, right? Let's just show up. We showed up to Taekwondo a couple of weeks ago and we learned staff forms. Probably not going to happen again this year, but every once in a while you have a day where there's nothing in the curriculum and you're like, let's just do something fun. And you can really only do that with a relatively small class. You can't do that with more than 8 people, 10 people tops. Because once you have a certain number of people there's just an expectation. If you break the flow that they're used to, it just adds a little bit of chaos, but that little bit of chaos spread out over 10 people magnifies it, right? And at a certain point, it's just too much chaos to keep a class going. Age comes into play there as well, right? Kids' classes, more chaos, inherently more chaos, just because of who kids are as people. So you're always kind of riding that chaos wave, right? How much can we take away from the expected curriculum here? How much chaos will that create versus how much learning will that create? And I'm bad. Like I do not have a grasp on that yet. So that's one of the things I'm trying to learn in my quest to be a better instructor is where that line is and how much control I have over it or lack thereof. Anyway, now that it's night, I can sort of ring back in on dinner, which was the other burrito, as I had said it probably would be. After that, as a snack during my D&D game, I had some hummus and pita. It was delicious. I snacked on some sort of like Mediterranean cukes and radishes, which was quite good. And that's it. I'm going to do a little bit of writing now. I'm actually still quite full from that, so I don't know that I'm going to do any peanuts or anything like that. I'm just going to have a drink, do some writing, go to bed, do the whole thing again tomorrow. Tomorrow, weigh in Wednesday, so we'll see. We'll see how the week has gone. Thank you.